you talking about? I've been here 5 minutes.
Time move differently in hell.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 most horrific American Horror Story characters.
You need to give a humiliated man some way to redeem himself in his own eyes, or else he's at risk to be drawn into darkness.
For this list, we'll be looking at characters from the first 10 seasons of this anthology series who has committed the most unspeakable acts, as well as a few who have endured the most horrific deeds. Since we'll be talking about entire character arcs, beware of the following spoilers. Which AHS character do you think is the most horrific? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Fiona Goode, Coven and Apocalypse. Don't let her surname fool you. There's little if any good in Fiona's black heart. Her daughter Cordelia can tell you that much.
Just drink the damn water, will you please? Mother, this is totally— Shut up, Delia! Unless you want me to spit in a third cup.
For years, Fiona reigned as the supreme of her coven. Even the most powerful witches aren't immune to her fatal illnesses though. As the clock begins to tick on Fiona's time at the top, she becomes more obsessed than ever with achieving immortality.
My time is up. And you're killing me.
While Fiona cares about her coven to an extent, her desires always outweigh the needs of her fellow witches.
Feel my power flow into you, I know, because I was standing where you're standing! Stop yelling at me! Do it!
In her second Emmy-winning performance on this show, the invaluable Jessica Lange plays Fiona with the vain madness of Norma Desmond. Paying for a lifetime of narcissism and backstabbing, Fiona's journey poetically ends with no power, no glamour, and no escape.
And when we're finally gone, you will fulfill your destiny and lead this coven.
Number 19, The Piggy Man, Roanoke. While the Butcher had more of a presence throughout Roanoke, the Piggy Man still gives us nightmares every time we eat too much barbecue. Technically, there's more than one Piggy Man in the American Horror Story universe. The urban legend brought up in Season 1's Murder House derived from Kincaid Polk, who was inspired by the OG Piggy Man.
Here, piggy, pig.
Roanoke takes us back to the beginning, when a sticky-fingered colony deserter paid the ultimate price.
This deserter was found at the edge of the wood with our provisions stolen from the storehouse. Justice demands penance for his betrayal.
In addition to getting scalped, the man was given a pig's head and tail before being roasted. Now haunting the Roanoke house as a ghost, Piggy Man is exactly what you'd expect from the neck up. The fact that he has a slender body strangely makes his presence even creepier. Number 18, Lana Winters, Asylum and Roanoke.
Lana Winters from the Gazette. I'm doing a story on your bakery. I have an appointment with Sister Jude.
Not all of this series' best characters are serial killers or evil witches. Case in point, Lana Winters, Asylum's ultimate survivor. A journalist who tried to uncover some of Briarcliff's shady dealings, she was ultimately locked in the asylum as retribution, before being kidnapped by Bloodyface.
Drink up. This is your last taste of alcohol.
Not one to be a victim though, she manages to overcome an abundance of atrocities, including her obsessed killer and her insane son.
It's mine.
Few characters in the show have gone through so much darkness and managed to hold on to their sense of morality, which makes Lana the show's most fundamental final girl.
Are you sure it's not me you love?
Number 17, Harry Gardner, double feature.
You must be the Gardners.
Hi.
We are. Hi.
Welcome to Provincetown.
In a setup reminiscent of The Shining, Harry Gardner takes his wife and young child to a secluded dwelling to get some writing done. Where Jack Torrance turns to the bottle, Harry turns to literal crazy pills.
What are these?
They don't have a name. Funny how we found a pill to help artists and writers, but none of us have ever given it a name.
The drugs not only relieve Harry of his writer's block, but they make him an even better writer than Tarantino. There are a few downsides, however. Namely, they give Harry a thirst for blood while also tearing his family apart.
I have this other idea for episode 2, and I just want to outline it tonight.
You killed a man in our sunroom!
And the sheriff said it was the first violent crime that's happened in this town in years.
Harry may not chase his daughter down with an axe, but allowing her to follow the same path of addiction and murder is equally irresponsible.
She snuck one when I wasn't there.
Oh, you see, Austin, he's not a bad parent, just an absent one.
We've seen other characters experience the price of fame, although few have gone to such extreme lengths as Harry, while still being somewhat sympathetic. Number 16, Papa Legba, Coven and Apocalypse. Grounded in Haitian voodoo, Papa Legba had been portrayed in a wide variety of shows, movies, and other media.
Wake up. Your master calls.
Lance Reddick has delivered what might be the definitive portrayal on American Horror Story. Distinguished by his top hat, skull makeup, and eyes that glow red like the fires of hell, this crossroads demon traverses the realms of life and death.
You must pay my price. It's the bargain you made so long ago.
Reddick's performance strikes the ideal balance between being creepy and cool. Whenever someone enters negotiations with Papa Legba, you know that they're making a deal with the devil.
I shine to only one thing. Your soul.
Papa Legba is so slick and classy though, that one's judgment might be clouded, especially if they summon him for selfish reasons. For Papa Legba, collecting souls isn't personal, it's just business. And admittedly, pretty fun too.
Congratulations, Madame Delphine Lalaurie. You have been granted your sweet release from the world of the mortal.
Number 15, Benjamin Richter, aka Mr. Jingles, 1984. Initially built up as this season's big bad, Mr. Jingles is right out of a retro slasher film. The man behind the hood turns out to be more empathetic than expected, however.
You shouldn't watch horror movies. There's too much violence in this society.
Benjamin Richter was a friendly soul until he was framed for a massacre and sent to an asylum. Although Richter was wrongfully accused, he eventually deteriorates into the vile killer that the world views him as. With thick glasses, a filthy face, and a leather jacket that blends into the night, he's the epitome of every stranger you don't want to encounter at camp. Whenever you hear his keys jingle, death lurks around the corner. Unlike Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers, Richter does manage to turn his life around, but bloodshed still follows.
You always found a way to hurt me. You think I would let you hurt my son?
Number 14, Kai Anderson, Cult. We'd like to tell ourselves that Kai Anderson is purely grounded in dark satire, and a monster like this couldn't exist in real life. With each passing year though, it's becoming increasingly apparent that people like Kai do run amok, making Evan Peters' performance all the more horrifying.
I'm just so scared now.
Everyone is.
Kai initially keeps his toxic nature limited to the internet, sending far-right extremists over the edge. After election night 2016, the charismatic Kai is motivated to take trolling and manipulation to the next level. Kai lacks the supernatural powers most American Horror Story villains possess, adding to the real world's terror that the character embodies. Most people would be creeped out if Kai came knocking on their door, but they also might underestimate exactly what he's capable of.
Why would you need a knife to answer the door? Are you gonna melt all this metal down and build a bridge?
Number 13, Marie Laveau, Coven.
She done mess with the wrong witch, and she knows it. And now you know it.
The series' third season brought the horror to New Orleans, where a fictionalized version of this real-life voodoo priestess served as one of the season's antagonists.
It wasn't poison that I gave you, but something far worse. My gift to you, Madame Lalaurie, was life everlasting.
The leader of New Orleans' premier voodoo coven, she does not hesitate to take revenge on those who cross her, particularly the woman responsible for her lover's death. Her commitment to her craft knows no bounds, as her evil is exemplified by her yearly infant sacrifice to retain her immortality. A one-woman wrecking ball, she becomes enemies with nearly every character in this season, and manages to manipulate, curse, or otherwise maim just about every witch in Louisiana.
The mistake you make is from a lack of imagination.
Number 12, Sister Mary Eunice, Asylum and Freak Show.
Pepper! Leave the lady alone. Oh, it's fine.
To begin with, this sweet and innocent Mary Eunice didn't fit in with the American Horror Story crowd, but then something got into her. The devil. The devil used his new vessel as a way to exacerbate the evil goings-on at Briarcliff, manipulating Dr. Arden, the Monsignor, and various patients to cause chaos.
We're all going to be together in the dark, watching The Sign of the Cross, a movie full of fire, sex, and the death of Christians. What fun.
Lily Rabe also played the innocent Misty the following season, but the duality of this character's evil and purity is what made this character a shoo-in for this list. In fact, she was so popular, she even returned for an episode in Freak Show.
Is that real?
Number 11, Madame Delphine Lalaurie, Coven and Apocalypse.
It's because of my love for your plain faces that you can still draw breath. Good little birds. And I'll set you free in a year.
American Horror Story has created some of its most terrifying characters from real-life psychopaths. This infamous New Orleans socialite and serial killer is known for her horrendous mistreatment of slaves, which, in the show's universe, caused her to be cursed with immortality.
Immortality was in that bottle.
Delphine Lalaurie has a hard time adjusting to the 21st century, which causes both comedic moments as well as some interesting insights on racism.
Oh Lord, my God, have you forsaken this once proud country?
Kathy Bates gives her most evil performance since Misery, and rightfully won a Primetime Emmy for it. This is probably among TV's greatest head-only performances.
There's a certificate of authenticity in there somewhere.
Number 10, Margaret Booth, 1984. In Scream 4, Emma Roberts played a murderer determined to become the final girl. Whether intentional or not, Season 9 of American Horror Story flips things around. Roberts plays heroine Brooke, while Leslie Grossman plays a madwoman hell-bent on achieving final girl status.
But I've been hiding and waiting.
For what?
To kill you! We'd say that Margaret is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Even before revealing her true colours though, there was always something off about the uptight camp director.
Are you my bear, Benji?
I'd do anything to protect you.
Nevertheless, her role in the Camp Redwood massacre and Benji Richter's framing caught us all off guard.
Do you see now? Benji, we've come full circle.
You did this. You told the world that I was the killer.
After getting her first taste of fame and bloodlust, Margaret heads down a path paved in deceit, greed, and sin. Despite claiming to be devoutly religious, Grossman has a ball in what might be her best American Horror Story performance yet.
Haven't you heard? People can run for me, but they never get away.
Number 9, Constance Langdon, Murder House and Apocalypse.
Don't make me kill you again.
Jessica Lange's first performance in the series still remains one of the show's best. Constance is the nosy next-door neighbour of the murder house with a dark past tied to it. As an ex-resident, she's aware of the ghosts in the house, 2 of which are her children, and she'll do whatever it takes to get her way.
I would kill or die for you, but I will not share the affections of the men I bring into this house with any woman, you understand?
Her children also made fantastic characters, with Adelaide as one of the standouts. But Constance's ruthlessly cold yet somehow warmingly inviting nature made sure that the audience was never sure whose side she was on, though it was apparent the whole time. She was on a side of her own.
My first instinct was to flee, to run screaming and never return, but then I thought of the baby.
Number 8, Michael Langdon, Murder House and Apocalypse.
Now what am I gonna do with you?
When audiences learned that American Horror Story would be an anthology series, it looked like we'd never see the little Antichrist blossom into a grown hellspawn. To our delight, the story picked up in Season 8, appropriately subtitled Apocalypse.
Oh, come on, you can't be that surprised to see me.
Michael Langdon is now an adult male, aging faster than the average person due to his demonic heritage.
You don't tell me what to do anymore.
Although he can appear confident and collected, Michael's also something of a lost soul. Losing every parental figure he's ever had and going ignored by his father, Michael's satanic uprising could be seen as a far cry out for attention. At the literal end of days though, Michael is simply a bad seed. The role marked actor Cody Fern's American Horror Story debut, hitting the scene like a bat out of hell.
Father, I'm with you now.
Number 7. James Patrick March, Hotel and Apocalypse. James Patrick March appears more poised and polished than the villains that Evan Peters usually plays.
You look like you need a drink.
Behind the fancy suits and neatly trimmed mustache, however, there's a demented soul. Assuming he even has a soul.
Pull the trigger and take her last breath. It's exhilarating.
Something similar can be said about the Hotel Cortez, which appears fancy on the surface, but was built to hoard the bodies of March's victims.
It looks like you want us to build some sort of secret passage system.
While not a household name, March doesn't feel out of place at a dinner party with the Zodiac Killer and Jeffrey Dahmer. Speaking of real-world serial killers, March shares several parallels with H.H. Holmes, a hotel owner who committed numerous murders. March also possesses echoes of Vincent Price and Howard Hughes, blurring the lines between charming, eccentric, and intimidating.
And so I give you the honors. What order shall we die in?
Number 6. Elizabeth Johnson, aka the Countess, Hotel.
I don't know what happened. She got loose somehow.
This can never happen again.
When Jessica Lange left the series after the 4th season, a gap was left that only could be filled with another superstar, Lady Gaga. Her Golden Globe winning performance as the Countess sees her become a victim of disease that grants immortality, but it requires the victim to drink human blood.
Better. Stronger. More glorious than you could have ever imagined.
She finds her way into the dark glamour of the Hotel Cortez and manipulates her way to the top, becoming a woman of power and many enemies.
This isn't a crisis. It's a invitation for an adventure.
Though a vicious killer, she's not without her soft spots, particularly for her deformed son and hotel bartender Liz Taylor. Only Gaga herself could have pulled off such a stylish character and surprise us all along the way.
I'm going to make sure you suffer immensely.
Number 5. Dandy Mott, Freak Show.
No, please, Dandy, not this way.
This immature, spoiled young rich man is much more psychotic than he seems. After idolizing Twisty, a clown serial killer, he continues his tradition of murder once he dies. With protection and money from his mother, he goes on a killing rampage fueled by his obsession with conjoined twins Bet and Dot.
I know you love me. Tell them you want to stay and live forever in luxury with me.
He's surprisingly charismatic, which makes him all the more dangerous for Elsa's Cabinet of Curiosities. Few of the show's villains have hit such a balance of being likeable and deplorable, and Finn Wittrock's highly capable performance made him a viable asset to the series.
I am a god. A god who was chosen to walk among men.
Number 4. Dr. Oliver Thredson, aka Bloodyface, Asylum.
Don't worry. She won't bite. I took her teeth.
When psychiatrist Dr. Thredson appeared to be the only character this season with any sense, it was apparent that something was up. Of course, he turned out to be the most insane of them all, and he was Bloodyface, a serial killer with extreme mummy issues.
I'm clearly insane. Now, I'll be institutionalized. At the very worst, I'll live a long life in prison. Maybe I'll even start some therapy groups. God knows there are some disturbed individuals behind bars.
After becoming the evil foil to our heroine Lana Winters, the two begin a thrilling game of cat and mouse that continues even long after his death.
No baby should have to grow up knowing Daddy is Bloodyface.
He'll never have to know.
As one of the series' most shocking villain reveals, Zachary Quinto perfectly balanced the monstrosity of the serial killer with the kind vulnerability of the psychiatrist.
You're gonna write about this. You're gonna win a Pulitzer Prize. I just know it, Lana. You're the person to tell my story.
Number 3, Sister Jude, Asylum.
You're so twisted. Don't make me change my mind, Miss Lana Banana.
Jessica Lange was truly given the chance to shine when she took on the lead role in the series' second outing. As Sister Jude, she begins the season ruling Briarcliff with an iron fist and cruelly punishing patients, though she begins to mentally spiral once her grim past comes back to haunt her and she slowly loses control.
Why didn't I die that night?
An anti-heroine in the truest sense, she at first appears to be the main villain before seeing the horrors of being an inmate and turning herself around. Complex characters like this are why we love American Horror Story.
Now, if you'll excuse me, there's another unfortunate family who requires our care.
Number 2, Tate Langdon, Murder House. At first, Tate simply seems like a disturbed young man, though the truth soon turns out to be much more sinister. He's arguably the main villain of the series' first iteration, as he is both directly and indirectly responsible for a number of characters' deaths.
You want to talk to me? Let's see how fast you can run.
In life, he burned his stepfather alive before committing a massive school shooting in one of the series' most disturbing scenes. Evan Peters' layered performance even makes you almost feel sorry for the crazed kid, but the slow reveal of the true extent of his madness is one of the most compelling storylines in the show.
The world is a filthy place. It's a filthy goddamn horror show.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Twisty the Clown, Freak Show and Cult. Twisty might not be the evilest character ever to grace American Horror Story, as he was once a kindly circus clown who only wanted to make children smile.
Don't you want this? Huh? Isn't this your favorite toy?
He doesn't want your filthy whirligig!
Yet, we can't think of a more horrific image in this series than the ghastly grin that Twisty uses to cover his deformed face. In an era of horror overrun with creepy clowns, it's not easy coming up with an original design.
Who are you?
Twisty immediately emerged as an iconic addition to this franchise though. As bizarre as Twisty's appearance is, he isn't completely detached from reality.
What the hell is this?
Wait, you didn't hire him?
John Wayne Gacy also dressed up as a clown after all. Given his tragic backstory, we can't help but feel some sympathy for Twisty. That doesn't mean his face won't haunt us for eternity.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.